underneath our map. I want you to draw this shape. Yes, it is a 3 by 5 shape. Right, my 3 went away. It's a 3 by 5, so I have 3 rows and I have 5 columns. I want you to do a quick sketch of this shape. How would I figure out? You need the boxes. Don't forget those boxes in there. My shape has boxes. How would I figure out how much space is inside this shape? I'm going to figure that out. Ava? I did measure it. 3 down, 5 across. How am I going to measure the inside of that shape? Colin, what do you think I'm going to do? Do what? Do I? What am I adding? You don't have to. Gabriella, what am I going to do?
Just count inside.
I could count all the boxes.
That would take forever.
That would not take forever. It's a 3 by 5. Count all those boxes. You can put the numbers in the box. Yep. Count. Santiago, I need you on the other side of your desk. How many boxes are in my shape? Lily? 15. Now there is another way to do this because this shape looks very similar to something else I have done before. What does that look like? Malin? It does look like an array. Arrays are area. Now when we typically make arrays, we use dots, right?
Yeah.
This is still using dots, or it's still an array, but instead of using dots, I should say, it's using squares. Give me a thumbs up if you can see that as an array. And you don't see that shape as an array? Oh. Okay. So if that's an array, what math operation can I use to figure out the number of boxes inside my shape? Again, Washington? I can use multiplication. What am I going to use? What is going to be my equation? But I wanted to do 3 times 5. Could I do that?
Yes.
Why? Santiago?
Commutative property,
Which says what?
which is if you switch it up, you will still get the same thing.
Language is a little interesting. Yeah. Maddie? Which says what?
Which is when you switch around multiplication equation, it still equals the same way.
The same doesn't equal the same.
Product.
Same product.
Oh.
Or same answer. My factors I can switch around. My product is going to be the same. Alright. I got to give you a definition. So let's turn to our glossary page. Turn to your glossary page. In area, you're going to see a couple of words. you might see the word length. Width. And dimension. Raise your hand if you have heard the word length before. Yeah. You've been measuring length since kindergarten. Raise your hand if you've heard the word width before. Width.
Oh, I thought it was width.
Width. Good. Raise your hand if you heard the word dimension before. 3D, 3 dimension. Sure. Different dimension that we're talking about. Well, it's similar. Length is the measurement of one side of a shape. Most people make the longest side. No. You need to get this definition down because you're not even on the glossary page. No. You need to be in your glossary. Thank you. Most people say the length is the longest side. So if I'm looking at my example, most people would say that this side right here was the length because it's the longest side. It doesn't matter. It is all irrelevant. But most people say length is the longer side. It does not matter though. It literally doesn't matter. Aiden.
If most people think that the length is the longer side, what would they think of a square?
It would all be lengths, I guess, right? Yeah, Jackson?
If my mom tells me to measure something, I'll measure the side to side, not top to bottom.
That's fine. That's fine. The width is also a measurement of one side of a shape. However, width is usually referred to as the shorter side.
So what would you think of a square?
Again, all essentially the same thing. You could say they're all lengths. The length of this side is this, the length of that side is this.
Yeah,
It's just language preference. So if you hear the words width and length, they're talking about the sides. And if you have a question about that.
About one.
You raised your hand. Do you have a question?
So width is like the other side of like the three sides.
Gabriella, what? Not right now, no. I understand, and I understood that every single time you were raising your hand to tell me that. But no, that is not the most important thing for you to do right now, so no. Alright, that word dimension. Dimension is a fancy way of saying the side of something. Okay? So this is a two-dimensional shape, which just means it has two sides, length and width. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
So when we're talking about dimensions, we're talking about sides of a shape. Dimensions are only measured in length and for third grade purposes in width. When you get to 4th, 5th, 6th grade, you'll do 3D shapes, which means you're going to get a third dimension, length, width, and now you're also going to do height, which would be U, right? you are long, you are wide, and you are also tall. Your height is
tall.
not short. You are raised off the ground, therefore you have height.
Oh, okay.
Okay? We are not going to mess with height. We are only doing 2 dimensions, length and width. Does this make sense? Yes. Okay. Aiden, what's up?
Is there a one dimension? No.
Maybe a line. I don't know how you would see one dimension though. Does that make sense? Yeah. Jackson. Okay. Aiden.
I think maybe shapes and changes in second.
Yeah. But you didn't measure them in 2nd grade. You just learned them. Yep. Gabriella.
I learned about depth, and I thought that dimension and depth were both the same thing.
They're not. All right. Are we good with these definitions?
Yes.
All right. Let's flip back to our example. Next to the 5 that you should have labeled, I want you to write an L. L for length. Next to the 5, yep, an L for length, please. And then next to the 3, I want you to write a W. W for width. Now, could I switch those? Could I say 5 is the width and 3 is the length?
Yes.
Yes. It still goes back to commutative property. That would have been an awesome thought had we raised our hand the first time, but yes, you're still not wrong. It all connects. Yes, Jackson.
Does geometry and area kind of connect?
100%, yes. Ava.
So can you do the property your place in the office?
Kinda. You got these labeled now, Diana? Alright, moving on. Alright, so what I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you some word problems and some graph paper. So what I want you to do is just close your math notebook and let's put it, no, just move it to the side right now. Alright, you are going to need to cut out your word problems. There are 3. Aiden, no, that's not my direction. And then I want you to glue, so we are going to need your math notebook. I want you to glue just problem number 1. That's it. Don't glue the other ones yet. Problem number 1 only. Does that make sense? Great. All right, question number 1. It's a word problem. Yay! What is our first step in word problems? It's kind of an obvious one. Piper?
Read it.
You need to read it. Piper, can you read number 1 out loud to me, please?
Mary's planting a garden with Savannah in her backyard. She is going to make a garden that's 8 feet by 7. How much space does she have to plant?
All right. We've read the problem. We know she's making a garden. Piper, chair. What is my next step? It's been a while since we've done an answer or word problem. So there's steps. Aiden, what is my next step? Nope. Emily? Nope. Tatiana? What am I counting? I need an answer sentence. Today, Gabriella. I need an answer sentence. What is my answer sentence going to be? You're looking at me. I don't have an answer sentence on my pretty face. You need to be looking down at your question. Santiago?
She had blank space to plant vegetables.
We're writing an answer sentence right underneath our question. She has blank. How am I measuring my space? What unit of measure am I using? Is she using miles?
No.
Feet. So feet is my unit. She has blank feet to plant vegetables. All right, so by now we've read the problem. We've made an answer sentence. We know that we're counting how much space in feet. Now I want you to use your graph paper. So pull your graph paper on top of your notebook. We have to make, because the problem says that she's going to have a garden that's 8 feet by 7 feet. We know area is just like an array. Do I know how to make an 8 by 7 array? Yes. So let's go ahead and make an 8 by 7 array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh wait, 8. You could do the outside, that's fine. Nope. Nope. I want you to outline it just like I did. This was a 7 by 8. Could you do a 7 by 8? Could it be slightly sideways?
Yes.
Turn the other way?
Yes.
Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes. Why? Instead of doing 8 and 7, what if I did 8 here and 7 here? Could I do that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, cool. Why? Madeline, why? I heard you. Which says what? Yes. Yes, we can rearrange, and the product stays the same. What's going to be my equation? What's going to be my equation? Hey, Rosa? Write that in the middle. And then solve 8 times 7 and write the product in the middle of your box. How much space? We did our break apart math to figure out 8 times 7. How much space does she have available to her to plant her vegetables? Ava?
56 feet.
56 feet. She has 56 feet to plant vegetables. Somebody tell me, what are the dimensions of her vegetable garden? Think about what that word dimensions means. What are the dimensions of her vegetable garden? So if you have no idea, you could be looking in your glossary. What are the dimensions of her vegetable garden? Ana Rosa? Which is what? Look at her vegetable garden. What is the width and length? 8 and 7. The dimensions are 8 feet by 7 feet. Your dimensions should be labeled out to the side like I have labeled mine. So if you have not labeled your rectangle, do it just like I have, where I put the 8 on one side and the 7 on the other side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Very carefully. Very carefully. So I'm going to read question number 2. Now I'm going to read question number 2 to me.
Jordan wants to paint one wall in his room. blue. The wall is 9 feet tall and 6 feet. What is the area of the wall he wants to paint?
All right. So he's painting a wall in his room. What could be my answer sentence? What could be my answer sentence? You wrote one. What'd you write? Lindley, what did you write?
The area of the wall is 9 feet.
Awesome. The area of the wall is blank feet. If you have a different version, that's fine. But the important part is that it says blank and then feet. That is how I am measuring his wall. I'm using feet. That make sense?
Okay.
All right, let's pull over our graph paper. I need to draw his wall. What are the dimensions that I'm going to draw? Ada Rose, you are killing it today. What are my dimensions?
9 and 6.
A 9 by 6. Draw a 9 by 6 on your graph paper, please. Don't forget to label your dimensions. Which one of those dimensions would I probably call the length? Which one of those dimensions would I likely call the length, Gabriella? 9. Which one would I probably call the width, Jackson? 6. What math would I use to figure out the inside? How would I figure out the inside? Emily? I can use multiplication. Could I count? Technically, yes.
Yeah, that would take forever.
Do I want you counting?
No.
No. You guys have mastered some multiplication. Use it. What is my multiplication equation that's going to go with this area model? You're on fire, Adam. What is it?
5 times 6.
9 times 6. This is a great one to break apart. Do it, solve it, figure out what is the area of this 9 by 6 shape. So how many, or what is, not how many, what is the area of his wall that he's painting blue? Namia?
54.
What? Good. 54 feet. Alright, same deal. Make sure you have dimensions labeled, like I have my 6 and my 9, and then cut it out and glue it underneath number 2, please. Make sure you have your dimensions labeled. Talking about multiplication, and we're doing arrays, and we typically use dots, right? If you remember doing lots of arrays with our counters when you're learning multiplication and learning some tricks. For area and perimeter, it is almost always, actually not almost always, it is always a square. And that square is called a tile. Makes sense, right? We have tiles in our room. Look at the tiles.
Square tiles.
Do you see them squares?
Yeah.
Yes. So when we are putting together big shapes like this, you might see that referred to as tiling because you're putting together squares. So when we are talking about area, we're talking about square shapes. How many squares, how many tiles go, what is happening? Yikes. How many square tiles fit in that shape? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Jackson.
It's
measuring how many dimensions?
2.
So when you write square feet, like technically when we're measuring this should be 54 feet squared. That's how you write squared. You put a little 2, which makes sense because we use how many dimensions? 2.
Yeah. So,
And a square has width and length. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am, Sabrina.
Isn't that just kind of like things, not really, but like in circle, like, and then it like puts like an equation, and it puts like a number on top.
Not quite. What's the Jackson?
Is there a preferable prefix for area and perimeter?
Yes, it's called measurement and data.
Oh, we already.
Yep. Measurement and data has a lot of different things, and it has graphing and stuff in it, so you've already taken it.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
All right, I want you guys to try number 3 on your own. So I want you to read it, make an answer sentence, and then draw that shape on your graph paper. Poster. He's making a poster for the poster contest. How big was his poster for number 3? Caleb? What were my dimensions? 4 by 2. He has 4 feet. 2, 3, 4 by 2 feet. He had a 4 by 2 poster. And then a lot of you use multiplication, yes?
Yes.
To figure out how many square tiles are in that 4 by 2. And you wrote, hopefully, 4 times 2, or 2 times 4. And you should know that is equal to
8.
doubles 8. Equal to 8. So we know that his poster, the area of his poster is 8 feet. But that was only one part of that question. There was a second part of that question, which says, does his poster meet the requirements or the rules of the contest? What were the rules of that contest? What did the question say was the rules? Ava?
The poster had to be less than 10 feet.
Had to be less than 10 feet. Is his poster less than 10 feet?
Yes.
Yes, it's 8 feet. So did he meet the rules of the contest?
Yes.
Yes. So you should have a sentence that says, yes, he met the rules of the contest.